A couple of things I wrote down that I wanted to talk about this week is it's still been tough in the real estate market in Jacksonville. Last week, we hit a wall at some point. I think it was Monday. I was exhausted. I was feeling burnt out. One of my other team members shared with me that they were as well. And we made a decision to take 2 entire days off as a company. So I gave everyone 2 paid days off. And it's something I've never done before. I've always just been so much just grind through it. But I felt like we were grinding through it. And not only were we not getting the results that we wanted, but it was just frustrating. And I feel like it was frustrating because we were also burnt out. So we took 2 days off, and honestly, it was the best thing that we could have done. Got a lot of clarity. What I personally did on those 2 days off, and we said no one check Slack. I don't care if the lead phone rings. We're just going to take 2 full days off. What I did is I got out of Jacksonville. I went over to High Springs, rented an Airbnb for 2 days. Went to some springs there, spent a lot of time in thinking, some time journaling. There's like a meditation center out there that I went one morning. For the first time in probably a very long time, maybe even years, I spent 2 days and I really didn't think about work. And the clarity that I got about work when I got back, it's just interesting, right? I wasn't thinking about work at all. And I still gained some insights once I got back at things on Thursday morning. And the biggest insight that I took away from those 2 days off was really the importance of energy when running a company, especially when running a sales team, and especially in a business where you get so many no's just to get one deal. What I realized is we had made so many changes over the last few months. We had let some people go. We had changed the way that we were handling some marketing stuff. There's this constant change. And what I realized is this constant change never let us get a solid rhythm going. There was always, yes, we have to do our daily tasks and we have to worry about all these changes that are happening. I discussed this with the leadership team. The decision we came back with on Thursday morning was no new stuff. So next 4 weeks, we're just going to do what we've been doing. We're going to make our sales calls. We're going to go on our appointments to buy houses, but we're not going to add anything new. And we're not even going to worry that much about like marketing KPIs, anything like that. We'll still pull them. And if they're crazy off, like something is totally wrong, then we'll do something about it. But if our contact rate on cold calling drops by a tiny bit, we're not going to dive in there to try to solve that problem. We're just going to say, yeah, don't worry about it unless it's a major issue. So this has been since Thursday morning, and I have felt like a lot better energy, and a lot of people on the team have shared they felt a lot better energy. And this kind of reminds me, actually, a couple of weeks ago, I had dinner with Daniel Lee, and he mentioned that him and Elisa have this phrase, and I really liked it. He said, heavy or light. Whenever something comes up that they have to do, they say, does this feel heavy or does this feel light? And if it feels heavy, you either get someone else to do it for you or you just don't do it at all. So I really like that. And I actually wrote it down on my little sticky notes on my computer. But that idea also resonated with me, and the energy of let's just keep things simple, keep things light, and that will keep our energy higher. And then as long as we're talking to people about buying properties, that's really the most important thing. We got leads coming in and we're talking to people who are interested in selling. Things will work out if we're doing that. So it's been good. We've had about a little less than a weekend since that now, and the whole team seems to feel a lot better. Appointments are actually up. So I'll keep everyone posted how it goes, but that was a really big takeaway for me. It was hard for me to make that decision to take 2 days off because I've always been like, why would you take 2 days off if things are working? That means you have to work harder. But I realized that actually was not the solution in this case. And luckily, I have some good people I can turn to who gave me advice on this. Some of my coaches and some friends who helped me out with advice. I appreciate the advice that you share with me during that time. And it was great to also get out of my environment, to get out of Jacksonville for that break. It felt like so much more of a break because I wasn't in my house here. I wasn't in my usual surroundings. Those 2 days actually felt so long. It's amazing how long time can feel when you don't have anything specific that you have to do. I did go see some cool springs and went swimming and stuff like that, but I didn't have to be anywhere at any specific time. So it was awesome. A couple other things on the idea of no new stuff. We had a project at the beginning of the quarter where we're going to hit what we call this tier 1 through 4 data, which I may have mentioned on an old episode. And basically, tier 1 is we looked at the data historically from last year and said who has a 10% chance or more of selling to an investor at a discount, 75% or less of market value in a given year. So those are people in tier one. Tier two, I think, is 5% or more. Tier three is like 3% or more, and tier four is 2% or more. So what we did, we had put that in place at the beginning of a quarter, but we decided this week we're only going to hit that stuff, even for existing leads in our system that we're remarketing to, which I talked about in a previous live. We're now only remarketing to the people who fit within those tiers, because what we realized is we were getting a lot of stuff we were remarketing to and just a lot of tire kickers, a lot of retail stuff just coming back to this system, people who just didn't really want to sell. So it was just becoming a drain, an energy drain to deal with those people. And since we've made that change, I feel like our quality of lead is actually better. Only a few days in, so I'll keep everyone posted on it. But interestingly enough, some leads came through and we tagged them in our CRM, what tier it's in, and a lot of the good offer conversations that either turned into a contract or it made sense for them to sell to a cash buyer fit within those four tiers. So I found that super interesting. Also, I went through my pipeline and a lot of people I had marked as qualified leads, like people who might make sense for us to work with. The majority actually of my pipeline was in that tier, even though only 30% of our CRM was that tier, probably 90% of my pipeline fit within those tiers, which is interesting. My pipeline meaning people I've had conversations with. So it's an interesting data point. I'll share that out with people. What do we have going on right now? Like I said, things are still a bit slow. We are doing deals, but not anywhere near the volume we'd like. We had a piece of land. We bought that in my Roth, and we actually just signed a contract to sell that. So that ended up being a decent deal. We do have a flip going on in Keystone Heights, a mobile home flip. So that's about 3 weeks out from construction being done. We bought a rental yesterday from a wholesaler, and then we have another house and more rental neighborhood under contract. We're probably going to buy that, just stick it back on the market as is. But those are all the deals from the last, let's call it 5 weeks. That's not really a pace that works for us. We need to be doing a lot more deals than that. We had a couple others. Some of them fell out of contract with payoffs being too high or issues like that. We're looking to put 6 properties in contract. So really working on just focusing that, but just waking up, doing the same thing every day, staying consistent, and I'll say it again, but no new stuff. So went kind of long today, guys, but I took away a lot from having those 2 days off. So if anyone feels like they're running into a wall, give it a shot. It was very counterintuitive to me, but it helped me more than you can imagine. So thanks everyone for tuning in.